It's Happy Hour again from Uptown New Orleans. Hello, I'm Grant Morris. Happy Hour is part of the family of shows on the podcast network. It's neworleans.com. When you walk into a bar in New Orleans and you pull up a bar stool, you never know who's going to be sitting on either side of you. What you do know is no matter what they look like, what they're wearing, whether they just got out of a limousine or just got out of jail, they're going to be happy to talk to you because that's New Orleans and this is Happy Hour, a cocktail-fueled 60 minutes of random conversation with folks who have nothing in common. Other than we're all New Orleanians in a bar today, we're at the fabulous Wayfare on Ferret Street. Frank Scurlock is here. Frank, can you help me out? Tell me what it says on that sign above my head.
It says we're having a happy hour between 3 to 6 p.m. every day. It's half price for all drinks and half price for starters and bar fare.
And that's exactly what goes on down here at Wayfare on Ferret Street. Come down here any day for 3 to 6 happy hour for half off the food and half off the drinks, or just stick around with us for the next hour. We've got free drinks. Frank, what are you drinking? A glass of wine, very sophisticated.
Yeah, Cabernet.
Frank Scurlock is back. He's the candidate for mayor of New Orleans. So welcome back, Frank. We haven't seen you since you qualified, or since you decided to run from there, I guess.
Yes, and qualification doesn't actually take place till July, but we decided to get a jump start on things.
Oh, okay.
So
all right.
We want it to be first as opposed to last.
I have seen people describe, someone's calling you, Don Hazlitt.
Oh, shoot.
Do you have to talk to him?
No, he wants to go around the world in a hot air balloon.
Does he really?
He
Do
does.
you have a hot air balloon?
He has 6 of them, actually.
He has 6 of them?
Yep.
Really?
I'm actually, this is a true story. I was in New York City yesterday, and he's a member of the Adventurer Club, and we put together a team, and basically it's the 180 days around the world. It's going to go to Dubai. It's actually going to land in Versailles and Paris.
You're going to be on this thing?
Let's just say we're forging a relationship, and I'm
the
going
answer
to
is
meet.
no.
I'm meeting him in Dubai next week, and we're basically charting the course.
You met him in New York yesterday.
Yes.
So why do you have to meet him again in Dubai next week?
Because we're going over to do some negotiation with some sheikhs
About?
landing rights and financing.
Landing rights of the hot air balloon.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot to get on with here. This is what Frank is like every time you talk to him. This is Dr. Jess Tregle. Frank, I'd like you to meet her.
Oh, hi.
Dr. Jess is an actual doctor.
Oh, wow. Where'd you go to medical school?
It's actually a doctorate in metaphysical science.
Oh, wow.
A doctor of metaphysical science.
Yes.
Shane Avrard is here as well. Hey, Shane.
Hey, how's it going?
Shane is not a doctor of anything, but he is a musician.
Yes, that is true.
He's 50% of a band.
Yes, I am.
The noise complaints.
Yes, we are quite loud in some settings.
It's good having a band of only 2 people. There's no one to really sort of
It's really
get
easy.
on your nerves.
I only have to text one person, and I only have to split any money 2 ways.
Right. Are you making any money, you and the noise complaints?
On occasion.
The other half of the band?
On occasion. It usually goes right back into, costs of running a
drugs.
band. But yeah, sometimes yes, most definitely.
What kind of drugs do you need with just a duo like that?
Well, let's see. So my drummer has never had alcohol in his life, nor coffee, nor a cigarette. He does partake in marijuana, and that's our whole drug list.
So the other half of this rock and roll band doesn't drink coffee,
No,
alcohol,
no,
or cigarettes. And he's
No.
never had them.
he has never had them.
Jess, what would that make someone metaphysically like? What is metaphysics anyway? Let's get on it.
It's all about like the study
Come
of.
over here.
Thank you. It's all about the study of deeper truths. Like say I specialize in energy healing and meditation.
Let's say you do, shall we?
What's that?
Do you?
What do you mean?
Do you specialize in energy
Yes.
healing and meditation?
Like clearing the chakras, and I could actually reconnect you with your inner child.
Right.
And
Today?
we could definitely do it right here, right now.
What about doing
know.
it? Frank's inner child would be more interesting than mine, I would think. Don't you
That'd
think?
be fun. I'd love to do that.
Yeah, I feel like you're very healthy with that.
Thank you. Why grew up?
Yeah. Big kids. That's what I say.
Frank hasn't really ever grown up, actually. Can you tell? Can you tell something by just looking at someone?
Yeah.
Other than what we can all tell, like he's obviously crazy. But
Well,
other
no.
than that,
I feel very well-rounded. I feel that, like, say when you look into the eyes, you can feel the vibes. And say for you, I feel that you don't care what anybody else thinks, which is awesome. Very bold. Being the boldest version of yourself, which is what I always recommend. It feels great. It's very healthy to express yourself. So, yeah, that's a little tidbit. Yeah, I know.
I think you hit it dead on, and I appreciate that. And quite frankly, I'm actually a member of something called CCHR, which is Citizens Commission on Human Rights, and I'll actually be having lunch there tomorrow in Los Angeles.
Jesus, you get around. You've been in New York yesterday. You're in
So
New
what
Orleans today,
CCHR
next week in
does, it
Dubai.
basically saves people, specifically children, Because if you're in school and you're maybe overactive, they give you Ritalin, they take your life away from you. And the abuse that children go through, I just went to their gala in Beverly Hills about 2 months ago. It's really sad because they have a great museum.
It's not that sad. They're in Beverly Hills. That can't be.
Well, actually, they in Hollywood, if you can imagine all the types out there, they have the death of creativity. And quite frankly, I actually attribute that organization as saving my life. In a prior life, I was actually drugged for a while. So, yeah.
All right. So the CCHR stands for what?
Citizens Commission on Human Rights.
Citizens Commission on Human Rights saved your life.
They did.
And
yep.
what were you drugged? Were you drugged by other people?
I was. Sadly, I was in a relationship that kind of turned abusive. And in that relationship, in order for me to live underneath my own household, I basically had to be tranquilized. And for 18 months, I lived in a tranquil situation. It was really scary, to tell you the truth. I actually almost committed suicide at one time.
Were you aware of it?
I wasn't at the time because they said they were there to help me. And so they asked me to go see a psychologist, which I said, sure, I'll go do that. And then they brought in the psychiatrist, and they asked me why I was there. And I said, because this person, actually it was my former wife, had asked me to be there. And I submitted to her request, and you really can't test.
Request, not bequest.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Bequest would be if she'd already killed you.
That's true. Well,
was she trying to kill you, actually?
I don't want to go that far, but let's just say she thought she knew more about my inner soul and myself than I. And, when somebody has some issues and stuff, we're all looking for help. We're all looking for love, and we're all looking to be coached and guided. And so I gave in. And when I had external friends, specifically pastors of churches, that I would be friends with, and they watched my physical life deteriorate, I actually looked at myself in the mirror and said, I'm worth something to someone. And I moved out of my house, moved into a pastor's house, and it took me 6 weeks, and I became back a human. And that's actually why I moved back to New Orleans.
What city were you living in when you were a zombie?
It was actually a city called Celebration, Florida.
That's ironic, isn't it? Isn't that that sort of perfect Disney community?
It's funny. It is a utopian society, very close to it, like the Truman Show. However, I was considered being too happy, and they thought I was a danger to myself. And so their answer to being a potential danger to myself was to drug me. And so I couldn't even control my bodily functions. And
so you're wearing a diaper?
Everything. When they took me down, I slept for 3 days straight, yes. And when I came up,
you can't control your bodily functions. What does that mean?
Well, basically, you are comatose.
All day?
24/7. When
you had kids to raise,
there's
right?
really no testing in the psychiatry industry, and all a psychiatrist can do is issue drugs. That's all they can do.
Right.
And then it's kind of like a doctor practices, and so they just observe you from time to time, and based on what they think about you, they decide either to up or lower your prescription. But they're not with you 24/7. Only you are with yourself 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
Jess, what's your opinion as a metaphysical doctor?
I feel that it's very tunnel vision of how they see, and it's not helping you, and they think it's like how you mentioned helping, but it's doing a lot of harm, and it's traumatic, very traumatic. As you mentioned, even suicide was like picking an apple off a tree so close. And that's not fair to you. That's not right for you. What I do, I actually see different people, different ages, young children to elderly. We all, like you said, we all need healing. We're all human. We're all on this earth. We all have different backgrounds. We're all sensitive, and all the different variables take into place. And say, even though you have overcome so much, and I love that organization. I love to take note of it when I can, to really look more into it. Yet I'm happy that you put your foot down when you were able to, and put both feet down, really claiming your life back. And that's so important, and it's empowering your own spirit, your own soul. And I feel that there's still some sadness there, which is, you have every right we have feelings, and it's healthy to have feelings. But if you like, I'm glad that we're meeting right now. My office is literally 5 minutes away, and just sharing uptown. It's comfortable, just me and you. It's like hanging out like we're doing right now. And
can you have drinks there?
If you want to, just me and you. So
good.
I don't make any rules.
What I would say to kind of hit on that, the sadness is when you have loved ones, especially family members and children, and all of a sudden they make it conditional for you to be involved in their life, that you be in their state of mind, not your state of mind. It's kind of like a person with ADD. The question is, who is it really at fault? Is it the person because they're faster than somebody else, or is it somebody that's slower than one person else? and it's how they kind of meet in the middle. And I think from working with children, because it's what I do, I entertain people, you kind of pick up on a vibe that they're going. I learned through personal observation in the theme park industry how I can speed things up, slow it down. It's just like music. Do you want to waltz or do you want to rap? Or, I don't know, you tell us. You're the musician. Bring it on. Let's do it. Tell me about music.
About music?
Yeah.
There's a lot to say about music.
What can you do?
Especially,
is it a medicine?
Yes, I do believe that music can be medicinal.
There you go.
Or at the very least, therapeutic.
Well, it depends what the diagnosis is. What diagnosis did they give you, Frank, when they drugged you up for years?
They really didn't.
What were they treating you for when you went to the psychiatrist?
Happiness.
Happiness?
I think. Yeah, it was sad. There was no official diagnosis other than, of course I have ADD because that's just who I am.
Well, that's not really...
that's not a disease.
A crime.
And especially, quite frankly, it's a talent. And in my industry, it really is sad because I'm in... my father invented an amusement product called a spacewalk, the bouncy castle. And then I was exposed to the theme park industry. And, the real question is, why be normal? If everybody conformed, it would be a very boring life. And, quite frankly, it would be a bunch of conformists. And I'm not saying I have to change the world, but I think we're all entitled to freedom of expression. I mean, I'm wearing a top hat at the table. I wish people could see this. And I also
they can see it. They can see it live on
Facebook
Live, and Alison's taking photos of it.
Yeah, they've got somebody here with a
plenty
mothership.
of people around the world seeing it. Why do you? Well, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Why do you wear a top hat? Is there some sort of psychological? What do you think, Jess?
I feel it's like
as a metaphysicist.
Like the landmark is kind of like the top hat's kind of like a landmark, like your own signature, your own vibe, your own extra expression.
Yeah. You're selling yourself, and I decided to brand myself, and in branding, my graphic artist had my favorite movie was called Author, and there's a gentleman named Arthur Bach, goes back from the 80s, and
the Dudley Moore.
Oh,
movie.
Absolutely, he was my role model.
Brilliant movie, really. Okay.
He taught people how to love. He had all the money in the world, but that's not what he wanted. He just wanted happiness. He wanted a soul to share his life with.
You identify with that. That's where you are. You have a huge amount of money.
Absolutely. Well, no, I give most everything I have away. But
do you?
Yeah, I do.
Well, you want to give us some right now? Shane's a starving musician.
There you go. Okay, there you go.
How much would you like, Shane?
Oh, that's a hard number to just...
No,
well, come up with a number.
That's not fair.
We'll see if we can do it.
I mean, we're hand-ups, not handouts. Remember that society.
Okay.
That's how you heal people, not handouts.
Let's start with the price of the next drink. Does that work?
Actually, the show's free today.
That's very modest.
I don't need too much.
Okay. Well, that's a very modest design.
I will say this, is I'm a highly spiritual person. And I always, if you look at the scriptures, it says those that are first are last. So therefore, by default, those that are last become first. When I get on and off the plane, my goal is to be the last person on. And when I exit the plane, I'm the last person, which doesn't make a lot of sense other than, for some reason, I keep getting blessed. And as a hobby, I try to outgive God, and you can't, but it's fun trying.
Well, when you say for some reason, what do you attribute the reason to? Why are you so lucky?
Well, I have a childlike spirit. I'm very innocent. And I guess I'm just fortunate to go with the flow, and I receive and I process that. And it's real simple. If you follow the scriptures, especially in a tithing where you give 10%, what they call giving the 10% first fruit, if anybody wanted to make $1 million, all you got to do is give away $100,000. It's that simple. And the same principle, like in the casino industry, you can pull on the arm and the one-arm band of the slot machines all day long, but nothing works until you make the deposit. You can only pull it down when you make the deposit.
So you're suggesting that if Jess gave $100,000 away, she could become a millionaire?
Absolutely. No doubt about it.
It's almost insane to believe that. Could you give it to me?
I'll
tell you what, Jess, if you give me $100,000... Frank will guarantee you become a millionaire.
You're supposed to give in private. It also says that. You don't want to boast about your givings.
I'm not asking you to boast about it, Jess. You don't have to tell anyone.
And you shouldn't
quietly give me $100,000. You don't really believe that's true, do you, Frank?
I feel like you have to have a strategy. You have to have everything.
Well, it's your personal relationship with your creator. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's God got to do with money?
Well, he has something to do with everything in life, from the hairs on your head to the sand in the ocean. He has everything. It's his world, not our world.
Well, why does he give money to you and not other people?
Well, I'm not saying he doesn't give it to other people.
You're super wealthy,
Well,
and no one else in this bar is, I would say. Taking a look around, maybe Grandma producer, she's super wealthy. She looks wealthy.
How you doing?
Other than that,
I think everybody has that capability. There is no limit. Even I interview homeless people a lot of time, especially for the mayor's race stuff. I found out 50% of the homeless people that I interact with are homeless by choice.
Yeah.
They can go places. They just choose not to because they love that lifestyle. It's no stress.
and what's the tenor of those conversations? What do you talk about mostly with the homeless folks?
I want to know their history. I want to know about them. I want to know, something usually affected them traumatically in their life. And the common denominator that I found, it's kind of sad. It's lack of love. And once again, going back to the scriptures, what does God say the greatest thing of all? Love.
Money. Oh. So if we were all loved as much as we need, you wouldn't have a doctor of metaphysics. You would have no job at all, Jess.
Well, I feel like even though, like, say, if the case was, like, say everyone was like Frank, for example, like a very happy and very loving, etc., very very welcoming, I feel that still the love continues to flow like music. It's like not just playing it one time, where a couple of times we have to continue it, so that way the momentum carries on and everyone could feel it on a daily basis as often as possible. And going back to the money thing, I feel that love, money, everything is energy, so it's just really being open to receive and attracting it. So some people are saying, no, I don't have enough money, or life's meant to be tough, get used to it, like those kind of ways of thinking and their perception, which is okay, that's their choice, that maybe that's how they were raised. I was even told some, sayings like that, but I've learned through different readings, through different research, through life experiences, that when you use your voice and actually have the sound, the audio waves, actually putting it out there energetically, you could actually attract whatever it is that you like. If it's money, if it's love, if it's a soulmate, if it's a certain career, if it's a dream house, a hot air balloon vacation around the world that you're mentioning. So it's just really putting it out there.
So now we're really getting somewhere. Frank says if you give me $100,000, you'll be a millionaire. And you're saying if you think it, it'll happen.
Mm-hmm. It's
anything.
Like, well, it's up to you how willing you are to receive, and giving yourself permission to receive, and asking and being brave enough to ask.
But then what you're saying then is if you don't have everything in your life that you want, you're blaming yourself because you didn't make it happen.
Well,
is that right?
Well, it's not really blaming yourself. It's just really learning. I feel like this whole life is a learning process, so it's just healing all the different levels of who you are, the different, like we have so many different, if you want to call it layers, whatever, the spirit, the soul, even I believe in past lives. I'm not sure of what y'all believe in, but there's just so much within our own perceptions already within that's conditioned within us, and we have to recondition or uncondition or relearn.
What is, when you say everything's sort of predicated on healing, what are we healing ourselves from exactly?
It's mainly remembering and healing, like say with the love. Like say sometimes people have fear. It's very common to have anxiety and a lot of fear, doubts. And I feel like fear, anxiety is the total opposite of trust, and that's love-based too. It's like say it's an expression of love, like a sunshine ray of love, So just feeling that you can add that to your life. It's like feeding yourself. I know that we have our cocktails and some water here. It's a choice, and it's a choice if we want to order trust or receive love, or putting that on the menu even.
Yeah, but what are we healing ourselves?
Healing ourselves from?
Your book, you wrote a book here,
yes.
which you have with you. Congratulations,
Thank
by
you
the
so
way.
much.
That's a pretty big deal. It's called Heal Your Spirit. So what are we healing ourselves from? What are we all fucked up by?
Well, it's not really one thing. We're human on this earth, so there's pros and cons for everybody, and everyone's upbringing is completely different. We all have our own sensitivity level, so it's not really pinpointing it to one thing. It's mainly, say if there was a misuse of love, it's letting go of those weeds from the garden, even if it happened years ago, say childhood stuff, like the traumas and the rockiness. Mine was kind of rocky too.
Where were you brought up?
What's that?
Where did you grow up? Here in New Orleans?
Yeah. So it's like, it's just like different. We're all sensitive in our own ways. I'm very sensitive. I know that y'all are very sensitive too, and some people aren't. Yeah. I feel like, Frank is definitely sensitive. I'm still learning about Shane. But I feel like
what can you tell us about Shane?
With Shane?
Yeah.
I love all this
let's get the rundown.
Right? Yeah, like, whoop, here we go. So Shane, let's see. I feel that you're learning more about yourself and really becoming more confident with that and strengthening that muscle. I see confidence as a muscle, and I feel that yours is strengthening. And just being here, showing up is huge. So definitely give yourself more credit for all that you're doing. And I know I can only imagine anyway being a musician, all the different things. I'm an entrepreneur also, so you have to put a lot of effort, a lot of love into it, a lot of follow through too, so that way you could attract even more. The more that you give, like you mentioned with that example of the money, even though I feel like it needs a strategy and you need to have like a master plan on how to do it. Like I can't just give it to him, even though he'll love it, just seeing the different variables that are needed. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So how did you come up with this writing? How do you know all this stuff, actually?
Well, I learned about energy healing in 2009, and it really intrigued me. It was very colorful.
What did you do before that?
It was different. I was studying physical therapy. I played a lot of soccer, and I was actually waitressing at the time in college. I enjoyed, I'm a people person. I like to help and to serve and to see what you need and provide and to share. I'm really big into sharing. So with writing this book and how it all flowed, within meditation, it's like having a download. And I like to ask, okay, what do we all need to hear right now? So it's very general but very specific at the same time. It just took one topic at a time, really, and just asking for the outline at first. Say, for example, the first chapter is all about remembering who you are and having that foundation. And it's basically redefining yourself and updating yourself with yourself. If that makes sense.
A question?
Yeah.
Because you said something interesting about past lives.
Yeah.
Well, later on this evening, I'm actually flying to the city of Los Angeles,
Nice.
which is a city of the angels.
Mm-hmm.
And I've actually had some incredible experiences there with past deceased relatives. And it sounds crazy, and quite frankly, we all know that Sheryl Crow song, All I Want to Do Is Have Some Fun.
Yeah.
And it all connected to me. This actually goes back about 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things where you actually question yourself, is this real or not? But all of a sudden I started thinking of going back to the scriptures, not to be a pastor on the show, but the reality is it talks about the Holy Spirit. It talks about the Holy Ghost. And if it can happen in that sense, it can happen in our lives as well. And there's
nothing in the Bible actually happened, Frank. It's all just made up.
I don't know. There's a lot of stories
I would
out there.
personally concur with that.
Oh, really?
as
You
well.
believe that? I was just kidding.
You believe
really?
in what?
You think it's all made up, the whole Bible?
Yes, I believe
Really?
it was written down by humans.
Yes, of course.
Who have no connection to anything outside of their own mental capacities, in my opinion. I think.
How about being inspired by something?
By real events?
I feel inspired by a lot of things, and I'm compelled to express them in my own way, which is writing songs. But I find no inspiration from any sort of spiritual.
It's and that's
I'm personally an atheist.
I just was in.
You're entitled to believe whatever you would like. I'm not saying that's wrong in any way. I just don't
Exactly.
believe it.
And I just was in Dubai, and in turn I went to Qatar. And I watched two Muslims get into a fight, and it was the funnest thing. They actually told jokes to each other in the fight, and they did everything respectfully. And one of the problems with the world today, it's actually the religious fundamentalists, the wacky Christians, the wacky Muslims that is bringing down our world. But I got to tell you, I have a very good friend that is a Muslim, and I was actually in a Muslim taxi cab today. There's some great people, and as long as they don't force their self on us, it's about personal choices, personal beliefs, personal freedom. If everybody would respect that for each other, I think the world would be a much happier place than it is today.
Oh, no doubt. That's for sure. But
Yes.
Yeah, I see like a religion kind of like genres of music. We all have our own perspective, our own culture, our own upbringing, and I see it as guidance. I was raised Catholic, but I personally don't follow any religion. I'm comfortable saying spiritual and letting that be, and
Exactly.
it's letting that be enough.
What do your family think of all this crazy stuff?
They're very supportive.
They're cool with it?
They're pretty awesome. Yeah.
Hey, cool. So we'll get back to the book in a minute because there's a
Yeah,
lot
yeah.
of chapters to go. But before we go, you got another phone call. Doug Miller.
popular over here.
What's Doug got to say? Why do you have 3 phones, Frank?
Well, I have one phone. That's my 407 phone, which is my life phone. I lived at Disney for 10 years in Orlando, so that's my lifer. Then I have my New Orleans-based phone.
Hang on a sec. What's this one called? Life?
A lifer phone. It's the equivalent of your Social Security number. It's your phone number for life.
From
phone
Disney.
Well, I acquired it. It's a 407 number.
Yeah.
And that's the one I have all my contacts, friendships around the world.
Okay, so this is your personal phone.
Yeah, well, the black one is my 24/7 phone. It's also AT&T because I travel, and they're the most reliable throughout the world. They're also the most expensive. Then I have Verizon, which is my 504. It's my backup. It's my New Orleans phone because I do so much work here. But the best phone that I could actually reveal on this show is the Red Hotline.
This is the Frank Scurlock hotline. Do we give
Actually,
the number out?
It is the mayor's phone.
This is the mayor's phone.
This is
Let's
the mayor's
give the
phone.
number out, Frank.
I'll have
Because
to
there's a
look-
good reason. You don't even know the number of the hotline.
it's well. Here's the deal. As I had mentioned, I'm running for mayor of New Orleans. That we can discuss if you'd like.
Yes,
But the
of course.
reality is, people need to know, and the citizens and residents are entitled to know. I have a section in my campaign called "Unlocking the Mysteries of New Orleans." There's so many things we don't know. Why do we have? I mean, we know we have potholes, but the question is, why do we have potholes and every city in America doesn't have potholes?
Do you know the answer to that one? Because that's a good one.
Of course, it's mismanagement.
It's not because the streets are all moving around and we live on a swamp or any of
I
this
think
crap.
the answer is the water table.
No,
That's right.
it's
But if you ask people who have lived here,
Well, you said you think, but with all due respect, are you also aware that the city of New Orleans owns 5 pothole-fixing vehicles that they choose not to use?
Well, have you seen those stupid vehicles there?
Oh,
They don't fix anything.
I know.
They just spray shingle and asphalt or whatever it is into
You
a
can-
hole.
you can go
It doesn't
to-
actually fix it.
you
Now,
can
these
go-
are cool glasses, Frank. This is a whole new
Well,
look.
there you go. Okay, the mayor's
like
phone,
these?
by the way, is the mayor's phone.
Yes,
if you want
I'm
to
writing
call
it
or
down.
text, is 504
Yeah.
575 4484.
Okay. Can
And
we
so
put this on our website?
It's going live right now.
Okay.
504
504-575-4485 to get in touch
No,
with
4484. 4484.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, that's what I wrote down. I don't know why I didn't say that. Okay, so if we call or text you,
Yes.
we've got a hotline to the mayor.
100%.
Given
24/7.
that you're going to be elected, of course. What are the chances of you winning this thing? Can you buy your way into this?
Well, it has
Or
nothing
think-
to do with that.
can just think your way
quite,
into it?
Quite frankly, of course, I'm assimilating a team and a cabinet basically to make me come office, and I am an entrepreneurial candidate. I am not a politician by any way, shape, or form. And I'm kind of like the Donald Trump. And now,
You look a bit like Donald Trump, doesn't
yeah, but I got to tell you this.
I wouldn't necessarily start a campaign by comparing yourself to Donald
Exactly.
Trump.
Let
If I had to give my honest opinion on
I
that,
said like.
it's a bit divisive.
Let me say this.
he? He is the president of the United States, by
I
the way.
was just
That's
in,
true.
You know,
in New
so he
York.
did,
That's
he did
undeniable.
succeed in that sense.
We
He
have
did
to
buy
we
it.
have to respect him that he is what the people put in. However, you don't necessarily have to agree. That goes back to that freedom. We have a right to make our personal choices
But why did you compare yourself to him in the first place?
because he was an entrepreneurial candidate. He decided to buck the system. He decided to do what literally he put his money where his mouth is.
Well,
he
you know
he
what? There
gave
is a
up his
good
own
similarity.
company.
He's a super wealthy guy who became president. You're a super wealthy guy who wants to.
Well,
become a man.
here's the thing. I need to put Donald on notice at this show. My intellectual property law firm trademarked last week the words "Make America Fun Again." I own that, and we're going to
Make
develop
America
it.
fun again.
Absolutely,
So
and
is he-
100%.
Could he come after you because he's Make America Great again? Surely he couldn't.
Yeah, well, the real question is he really doing that? He's
Well, he's
offending
saying-
just as many people, and he thinks he's doing right. And you know what? I got to tell you, I was for him. However, it doesn't mean I agreed with everything he did. That goes back to we all have the right. No one's perfect. Okay, we all have different quirks and stuff like that. However, going back to Qatar, I went to a sheikh's house in Dubai, and I was there at
Qatar and Dubai are not the same
well,
place, correct?
They're about 200 miles apart. In any
Okay.
event, when I went to the sheikh's house at 4 o'clock in the morning, their security consisted of one police car. If you go to the White House at 4 o'clock in the morning, their security consists of something larger than the whole NOPD police department. If something is wrong when you have to defend the President of the United States, I mean, it shouldn't be that way. It doesn't have to be that way.
You think we'd be living in a better country if we had less security around the White House? That would be a measure of how great the country was. What's that got to do with anything?
It just shows you the world the way that our current politicians. It might end at the White House, but it starts at the local political office. Since I've been in office, I've had so many random people want to offer me money not to run. It's crazy. Somebody offered me
Not to run.
$3 million not to run for mayor of the city. It's crazy.
Take it.
No,
Take it
I'm
and
not
use
in
the
it for
money to fix the streets.
No, that would run out. I'd rather fix a system that it's long-term. I'm looking at the long-term solution, not the short-term.
Someone offered you $3 million.
Of course.
Is that true? You're not making that up. How many drinks have you had? You only had one glass of wine so far, right?
You know, to be honest with
you... Did you start drinking earlier?
I called the Secretary of State's office, who's the supervisor of election. I declared that because I felt an obligation. I also have been interviewed by the FBI because of this. It's crazy. I'm learning what the political system is, and it's not good.
Can you tell us who the person who offered you $3 million, or is that...
I'd prefer not to, but let's just say...
It might be sensible not to, probably, but I'd love to find out. Should we have a guess? I can't even imagine. I can't even believe that's even vaguely true. You got to take that back.
I actually have it on recording. If you
what?
like, I have it on. They called me 3 times, and I have it on recording. Yes.
Someone called you and said, "Listen here, Frank. I'm going to give you 3." Why would you?
They actually started with $2 million, and I said I wasn't interested. The next day they called and they upped it to 3, and I still said.
How many days ago was that?
That was about 3 weeks ago.
So they're probably not going to go any higher than 3.
Well, we'll find. They actually wanted to meet me in California. And they wanted to pay me in there. And I have no interest in this.
But you remember that guy we had on the show, Graham? Manny Chevrolet Bruno? He ran for mayor.
Really?
You remember that dude?
Oh, wait, yeah, wait.
Hey, he was a super funny guy. He works at Tulane University in the bookstore. And he ran for mayor of New Orleans. I voted for him, actually. I was when he didn't win, I mean, I wasn't surprised, but I was surprised that I was only one of 17 people who voted for him. And... why? I'm not suggesting you're only going to get 17 votes, but
oh gosh,
but is someone scared enough that you're going to win this thing that they want to stop you?
Sadly, yes. And you know, I look at it this way: there's something wrong with the political process when it costs so much money to get somebody in office compared to what it pays. I didn't ask what it pays because I don't need that money.
What the salary of mayor is?
I have no idea what it is, but that's. But I know this is previous candidates have run for mayor and have spent in excess of $10 million. Now, I'm guessing what the mayor's office makes. I'm thinking $100,000. I don't know.
With something like that.
But it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Whatever it is, why is someone so convinced that you're going to win that they would pay you $3 million not to? What do they know?
Well, maybe they're part of the current machine and regime.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, when I brought up Manny Chevrolet Bruno was because most of these fringe candidates like you don't win.
Actually,
they don't have a hope of winning,
I will tell you this, and this is a sad statement to make. I have not had anybody come to me or that I've interviewed, which I interview people daily, that said they are really like what's going on in the city, that they're supportive of the current administration, and quite frankly, when they hear our program, and we have what's called the ACE program, and that's ACE. A stands for affordable housing, C stands for crime prevention, and E stands for education. And if those are the first 3 things, and we have a whole platform, everything for I will tell you right now what our platform on fixing the potholes, because that's so big it's not even in the program. It's a given. It's very simple.
It could be ACEP.
It could.
ASAP.
Actually, we can make it APE. APE.
APE.
Ape.
Okay.
This is like King Kong. Let me just say that simply on the pothole issue, if you're a taxpayer, and meaning a property owner in the city, we're going to certify construction companies that can fix potholes like Fleming Construction, Barrier Construction, and we will let you actually have your own potholes fixed in front of your house or wherever, and you would take this receipt.
That's a good idea.
And you would actually be able to deduct it from your property tax. So you get to actually control where your money is spent.
So
put your money where your mouth is.
I can call somebody
a
to
certified
fix the pothole
contractor.
outside
Absolutely.
my house.
100%.
It kind of reminds me, like with your LA trip coming up, you know how they have the star of fame, Hollywood fame?
Absolutely.
Kind of like have everyone's name by the pothole.
There
would
you
be
go.
hilarious.
Adopt the pothole. It's sad. I mean, you know, now
That'd be so funny.
we plant plants in them. It's
Well, people do all kind of. So I'm going to be able to call up a construction company and say, I need you to come and fix this pothole, and I'm going to have to pay them? And then you're going to give it back to me off my property taxes?
That's what our current plan that we're proposing to do, yes. I mean, this
How much
is
does it cost to fix a pothole?
Well, it actually, surprisingly, I don't think it's going to be that much because it's just like a bag of concrete or two and having the right equipment. I mean, the city of New Orleans already owns the equipment. They just choose not to use it.
This is a pretty interesting idea.
I actually
How did you come up with this, Frank? Is this on your drugs, on your Ritalin?
Probably a glass of wine.
Just one glass of wine. I wonder why no one's thought of that.
I actually went to a function with Mitch Landrieu about 6 months ago, and sadly, he opened up the conversation saying, you know, you probably want to talk about potholes. But then he went in to say, you're probably thinking the potholes are bad in Lakeview. But I think they're worse than Uptown because that's where I live. And then somebody said, no, they're worse than Algiers. And I said, why do we have to compare who has it worse? Why don't we just get it done? Mm-hmm. And he was dumbfounded. And everybody's dumbfounded. Just get it done and move on. We have bigger issues than potholes. We really do.
We do. Well, we have ACE. We have
I will tell you
affordable
this.
housing, which is how are you going to fix that, for Christ's
That's
sake?
very easy, actually.
All right.
And, well, first you have to figure out how we got there. The way we got there, it actually wasn't the locals. It was the out-of-towners because everybody fell in love with our city. All the tourists that come through, if they can afford buying properties. I mean, look at the big problem we just had with having all the short-term rentals in the French Quarter.
Right.
And look at the Bywater. The Bywater in Marigny, I mean, you got dumps with blue roofs on them, and they're selling for $200,000 and $400,000 right next door.
Correct.
And it's not selling to people that live here. Now, the reality is,
well, how do you fix it? Well, so I want to buy a house
by inventory control, which is one of the reasons why I got concerned and upset with the current administration. New Orleans East, which represents a third of the city, is completely undeveloped, and we're proposing a master plan community in excess of 10,000 homes that are different home types, everything from apartments, garden homes, single-family homes to estate homes. So by adding inventory is the only way that you can bring down and adjust pricing. It's the only way.
So you're going to build 10,000 homes in
at
New
a minimum,
Orleans East?
At a minimum, quite frankly. It's a city
who's
within a city.
building that? The city?
Well, no. First off, the city has to provide the infrastructure. What I will tell you...
Well, that's no big deal. That's pretty much out there. What is that? That's just sewer and water
no,
and
I mean,
power.
And
trash collection and cops. Well,
the reality is
not sounding
this.
too good,
If you ever drive to Slidell, you're going to pass 5 interstate exits. Interstate exits are not put in by the local authorities or the state. They're put in by the federal government. There was a guy named Walt. You talk about past lives. I believe that Walt is a third in my body somewhere. I mean,
Walt Disney.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. I had a focus group one time where we all kind of compared each other. They said I'm a third Walt, a third Michael, and a third Steve. Michael as in Jackson, Steve as in Jobs. I love technology.
Michael Jackson only died a couple of years ago.
Of course, the better ones do.
Let's see your moonwalk.
Oh, no, I own a company called Spacewalk, not Moonwalk. Well,
Close.
I technically
Maybe you
sold
did
it.
moonwalk on the
There you go.
Well,
I
Jess
have
can
plans
tell
on
us.
that.
Jess, can someone else's dead spirit enter a living person's body? Like, could Michael Jackson have ended up in a third of his soul being...
You could definitely do
Frank's
like channeling,
body?
like talking on the phone, like talking to a loved one that passed on, you know, like a grandma. Like sometimes I do this with my own grandma. I even have done it with Wayne Dyer, actually, just like more advice with the book and things like that.
Wayne Dyer. He was a guy who wrote Pulling Your Own Strings or something like that.
He has many, many, many books.
And he died.
He died
he's in touch
recently.
with you.
Well, it's basically like picking up a phone. You see how Frank has 3.
Yes.
And they can also have like one energetic phone that you can't see. It's basically using your own spirit, your own soul, having your own privacy because you want to be in your own private space.
Where is Wayne Dyer?
It's basically there's no right or wrong answer to that, but it's basically connecting with his spirit.
Passed.
Yeah, but where is he? And where is Walt? And where is Michael Jackson?
Right,
and
where's Grandma? Huh?
Well,
I definitely personally I believe in a dimension of heaven, but I feel there's so many different like say there's something called in between lives,
exactly.
like the transition.
Are we in one now?
We're on this earth, so this is like a classroom. So we're all here together, which is pretty cool, and it's kind of trippy, but it's awesome. And
we need to do deep discussion on this over a bottle of wine or two because I'm with you. I have some theories about where the bodies lay, and it's really deep. But yeah, they certainly keep in mind you only bury your physical body.
Right.
Your soul has lifted; it's left the building.
Okay.
And that is what is in the new dimension. And I don't know if it plants in something else, but it doesn't die. It continues.
I could definitely go into a deep conversation right now.
Go ahead, tell us.
Y'all ready for it? I don't know.
Yeah, we're totally ready.
Do it.
Okay. Like say with past life regression, like things like that. There's with hypnosis, the power of the mind. You could actually hit the rewind button and go wherever you'd like. There's actually a medical doctor. His name's Brian Weiss, another brilliant gentleman. He was actually kind of nervous about introducing past life regression because he was in the medical field. However, there's different studies, different case studies that you could look up and research. However, like say with this life right here, right now, for example, like I feel like at the very core of who we are is the soul, and then you have the spirit kind of overlapping entirely one at the moment.
I
So
hate
right
to
now,
interrupt, but what's the difference between the spirit and the soul?
the soul is more the core, the spirit's more of the personality.
Okay.
Yeah, the core, say you could see it as like a math formula or however you want to see it as, but the core, the soul, it has more of your purpose, more of the reason as to why you were created. And I feel that, when this time is over for myself, it's like I do believe in heaven, so I feel like the spirit will go to a dimension like heaven. There's different beliefs and different perspectives on that. However, I feel like if the soul, I definitely believe in God. I was raised Catholic, and I'm comfortable still saying that. But if the soul didn't fulfill the purpose as to why it was created, it gets recycled, just like everything else. When leaves fall or when stars are born and die, it becomes something else. It evolves. But
Okay,
Frank is
just
on
a
the
moment.
phone.
Frank's making a phone call right in the middle. Frank, you're the one who's supposed to be listening to this.
I'm listening very well. I'm
Yeah.
multitasking.
Who are you talking
Yeah, we're
to?
This is
listening
my
too.
printer in Beverly Hills. They're
Your
printing
printer?
more business cards. We ran out.
Of the printer?
Yes.
This is Wilshire Printing or
Yes,
something. I
in-
saw
in
that on
Beverly
your
Hills,
phone.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is
yeah.
that important that you have to
Yeah, they're
interrupt
printing
a conversation
printing
about
cards.
this.
Go for it. Well,
the
look,
Yeah.
spirit and
whatever
the
you
soul.
call-
You talk to the
I'll call you
printer?
right back. Gee, okay, bye.
Okay, Frank, that is crazy.
You're fine.
Okay, so
yeah.
we're talking about where
Yeah,
the soul
exactly.
is. And you're having business cards. What do the business cards say? Scurlock for mayor?
Well, we're actually updating these cards to say, call or text the candidate directly in the phone number that I gave you a few minutes ago.
504.
504
575 4484.
88.
This is how we started this whole
44,
conversation
84.
about the spirit.
Might as well, yeah.
And I mean,
Now-
you ever hear that saying, inquiring minds want to know?
Well, I was waiting to find out what's going on with my spirit and my soul.
Go
and
for
you're,
it.
He's very in
you're
suspense.
talking to the printer. That's.
Yeah.
Are we back on the spirit?
Sure. We can flip it back around. To pick up where we left off, say after.
Where were we?
Okay, right here. So basically, say when my life is complete, whenever that time happens, however it happens, say the spirit, I do feel it will go into dimension like heaven. The soul gets recycled, and say if it's fulfilled, I'm not 100% sure what the process is. I feel like there's a lot of mysteries, and that's a reason to keep us in awe, keep our
what
mind
sort of percentage
open.
sure are you when you say not 100%? How sure are you any of this is true?
I believe 99. Well, I believe 100% sure. This is my perspective, 100%. But I'm not 100% sure. Say if the soul gets completes the main purpose, the main reason as to why it was created, I'm not quite sure that process. But say if the soul didn't fulfill the main reason as to why it was created, it gets a new body, a new human body, a new structure, a new spirit.
How can we find out what our purpose was? Because maybe some of us have completed it. Maybe Shane was just sent here to write that one song.
Yeah. I would love to hear some of your music too, Shane.
Yeah, Shane, we have to make you play
Yeah,
a
what
song
kind of-
right
what kind
now.
of,
Get the
say-
guitar out
This
right
is
now.
do I have to pick the one that was the purpose?
Yes,
Sure.
you have to
My whole
play the
life?
song.
Sure,
that,
yeah.
I
exactly.
don't know if I'm in
want
that
to.
tuning.
Frank's
you
got
guys.
his check. Frank's got his checkbook
You
out
start
right
going
now.
for
This
it,
is coming
yeah.
together
Figure
here.
it out.
This is
Yes.
the $100,000 that's going to
Okay.
make.
Let's do it.
It's going to make us a
you could explain
millionaire.
it if you want.
Maybe the 100,000 should go to my next album, and we'll make $1 million.
How much do you
off
want
of
Frank to write you a check for? Look at your hand, arm. What is that tattoo? It's a person lifting up.
This is a
Weights?
a strong man, a big man with a little dress. Yes.
You have a big man with a little dress carrying weights above his
Yes.
head. What is that?
An old-timey strong man, and I asked for him to be designed with heels and a dress.
Okay. And who did that?
Cameron Sweet at Downtown Tattoos, who also designed this Saints shirt, which I've
Oh,
received
cool. All right.
several compliments.
Okay, so Shane, what are we listening to? What are you going to play?
This is a song that I wrote. It's called More Than Red, and it was on the Noise Complaints last album, which is called Feed It Back to Me.
Feed It Back to Me is the name of the album. Can we
Yes.
listen to that on Spotify for nothing?
On Spotify for free, on Bandcamp for free.
All right, cool. And this is your life's purpose.
This is the
All
whole
right.
reason I ended up here, I guess.
Yeah.
I just found out.
Awesome.
Danger, bridge ice is in cold weather. Wait till we crash and then I tell her, didn't you see the sign? I'm lacking intuition. Excuses I've been given. subsiding my inhibitions. Tell me where's the one I'm missing? Leaves will change and fall upon your shoulders. Hear the wilt and die and skip the colors altogether. I love you more than red. I love you more than red. Danger, high voltage, do not enter. Shocked to find ourselves so far from center and still intact this time. Lacking motivation. This familiar dull sensation. Sit there making accusations while I'm wishing I could change the station. Leaves will change and fall upon your shoulders. Hear the wilt and die and skip the colors altogether. Love you more than red. Love you more than red. Love you more than red. Love you more than red.
It looks so
Thank
easy.
you.
Love you
That
more
was
than
awesome.
red.
Thank you.
From Shane Avrard from The Noise Complaints.
Yes, indeed.
What did you think, Frank?
I
Impressive.
think it's amazing, and it actually led me straight into channel a positive vibe that, this was going to be an
I got the
anniversary show.
chills.
And
Good job.
it was supposed to be an anniversary show because it was actually this day tomorrow on April 20th when I was on this show. It was the
Really?
last time
It
I was
was
here.
exactly a year ago.
And y'all had set me up with a young lady named Katrina Breeze.
Well, we actually hadn't set you up. Graham books people on the show for whatever reason, but
turned
it
into
ended
a
up being.
relationship. Yes.
Yes, we should tell the story. This is what happened. So, Frank, this is exactly like today.
Yeah.
Graham, our producer, books people on the show.
Yep.
For whatever reason, I have no idea. We come here on a Wednesday afternoon
Yep.
and we sit down and we don't know who's going to be here. And this occasion was Frank Scurlock and Katrina Breeze. She's an artist and Frank is who he is. You've met him. And they walked out of here together, which is not that totally unusual on the show. People often will exchange phone numbers or they'll have a drink after the show or
I
whatever.
don't, Jess, we need to get Sam's phone numbers.
Yeah, you got it.
And then, but this time, we all went home. Then I got an email, I don't know, a week, 2 days, 3 days later, of Frank and Katrina at the beach together.
With a love heart in the
Yeah,
sand.
with a heart that says, "We love happy hour." I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And they ended up as a couple from that. What did you? So tell us what happened after you left here.
It was amazing. I met a wonderful person that we had been Facebook friends for over a year and a half, 2 years. Never knew each other. It was one of those
Right.
common, just happened to accept somebody. And I met her here, and I've always heard her name, and she's an event producer and parade producer and stuff. And she had a great spirit, and we just instantly kicked it off. Within 24 hours, we ended up at the Grand Hotel in Mobile. Then the next day we went to
Sorry for my-
Pensacola Hilton. Then we went to Destin, Florida. Now, we kind of went downhill in hotels from the Grand to the Hilton to a dump. But that's a whole different story. In any event, I decided to basically take off 9 months. And 7 out of those 9 months, I traveled the world, and we had a lot of fun together. Technically not the world, it was the United States, but we had a lot of fun together. She taught me so much. And I am so thankful for that. And Katrina is a different spirit in her own right. And, if you recall, it was 420 Day, and so there
we
was
were all smoking pot on the show here. Which,
that was a true
I'm sure
statement.
that's not
Which, by the
legal.
way, as mayor, I will do whatever I can to work with the governor to legalize it here in New Orleans. And I need to declare that the reason I'm flying to L.A. tonight is the opening of the first ever marijuana spa in Beverly Hills is tomorrow that I've been invited to, so I'm excited about it.
So you took Katrina to the beach, and you're taking me to that. That's
Nice.
the information.
There you go. Okay, sure.
I just wanted to make certain that's what was going on.
Yeah, that's the
this
plan.
is important because I need Jess's help on this issue. So Katrina and I had a 9-month relationship. It was really weird. It's like a full term, like a baby. We actually broke up. She texted me on January 20th, Inauguration Day. Basically, I got the Dear John breakup text, and I was like, okay. I didn't see it coming. So
you would still be together. You didn't see it coming.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Because, I learned from other relationships that freedom equals happiness. That's been my mantra. Okay, and each person, while you have a relationship together, once again, I go back to who are you with 24/7? You're with yourself. So first you have to have that internal relationship. And so what I wanted to, hopefully Jess can help me in this, because I learned not only from my own self with relationships with women, but also family members and stuff, how can you go from a loving, caring, kind relationship to turn the word hate? Quite frankly, I'm going to hand our musician here something. Can you identify what you have in your hand there?
This is a purple pin that seems to say World War II on it, or WW.
Exactly.
And Roman numerals.
And the reason I do that, why does it have to go from love to hate? I think there's a big misnomer there.
What's it got to do with World War II?
Because in so many breakups, all of a sudden, because you're not with somebody anymore, quite frankly, I was hoping Katrina was going to be here today because I was going to tell her thank you for really helping me in my life. She was so inspirational
well, you can
to
tell
me.
her that anytime you want.
I just did.
Right.
So, but the reality is that not only her, and I'm actually pursuing a young lady right now, and I do need to make a full declaration because I learned something from Katrina.
What's that?
I love your unicorn.
Okay, there you go. I'm going to let you open this.
Oh, you have a box. It's a
And
little black box. What does it say on it?
It says
Jess?
Jason of Beverly Hills.
Jason of Beverly Hills. It
Yep.
looks like, it's like a ring box. What's in it?
Ooh, very pretty.
It's an engagement ring and a wedding ring.
It is, just in case. You never know. You never know when it's going to happen.
So how do you know if it fits her?
Well,
try it on, Jess.
Yeah.
Try it on. Come on.
It's the whole Cinderella story all over again.
Yeah,
It's the modern version.
Charming. It's charming.
So what I'm trying to say is I actually think, and I love where she is with this empower your own life, because when you can empower a relationship, you can become a power couple. I met early this year.
Hang on. Let me just interrupt for 1 second.
Yeah.
We can go back to who you met. Hold on to that thought. We're going to
you're
see
fine.
who you met earlier this year. But you went to Jason of Beverly Hills, which is, I assume, a jewelry store in Beverly Hills.
Technically, I bought it at the Cosmopolitan.
This can't be cheap. And
It's
you
not.
bought an all-purpose engagement and wedding ring.
That's correct.
Just in case you meet someone and you feel like an impulsive desire to propose to them and spend the rest of your entire life with them.
For full declaration, I will say this. There is somebody I've had a 3-year relationship. It's kind of been on and off.
3 years you've been cheating on her the whole time
No,
with Katrina.
it's been on and off, and
Okay.
I texted her the question and said, what is your ring size? And she responded with that, so I followed through.
Hey, this is your glass of wine here, by the way.
Yeah, I
isn't
see
it?
that. I need to drink it.
What do you mean you texted her, what is your ring size?
Well,
and what does she
the-
say? Do you know what your ring size is, Jess?
I would have to make sure. I don't want to give like the
Well,
wrong.
how would you? Do you know yours, Shane? I don't know mine.
I think
don't.
mine's like
I
5.
think there is $1 million idea inside the just-in-case wedding ring, though, an expandable little thing. I think you could definitely file a patent.
One
on
size.
The
It's like
expandable wedding
condoms.
ring. I'm
Yeah.
writing that down.
Yeah.
You think about condoms, the same type thing, right?
And we have a live recorded record that I had that idea.
That was your idea. It's
Okay.
on record for all eternity.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, you buy different size condoms, all right?
That's true.
Do you still use condoms?
Not really. No.
With these? Not really.
No.
So what's the system? How do you talk these girls into having sex with you without a condom? What's the line? Apart from
I guess
the
the
wedding
top-
ring, I
the
suppose,
top
is
hat.
good.
The top
The top
hat.
hat.
The line is established a safe word, which once again, I will say this, is I didn't know what a safe word was.
Well, tell us what it is. A safe word
Well,
is what you have to say if things are getting out of control.
Exactly.
Sexually, it's normally how it's
I
used.
had
right?
never heard, I was married for a while, and I never had a safe word.
Well, because she had you drugged up and
Well,
comatose.
basically,
in
yeah.
bed
And
and Disney.
I also learned after that relationship, while, that lady was the mother of my children, I will tell you, I learned from that experience, but then my next relationship, somebody taught me how to love. And that I am so thankful for that. The person actually taught me how to live, and I actually...
This is the person after Katrina.
Yes. No, it's actually right after my
Right.
relationship.
I mean, before,
my
before
marriage.
Katrina, sorry, yes.
Yeah, before Katrina, but after
Wait a
my
minute.
marriage.
Okay.
But it's not
So
the
you
person...
weren't in love with
it's
your
not
wife?
the person... No, we were, but it was a different... sadly, we grew apart along the way.
Now, that happens a lot, though, doesn't it, Jess?
Every day.
I mean, you must see a lot of
this.
this.
Every
It's
day.
just like everything's a choice, so both people have to want it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and it was. I tried for over 5 years to stabilize, and there's no pride in breaking a relationship, especially when you have children. There's none.
Right.
And quite frankly, I'm forming a ministry that actually
Forming a ministry,
that
as
actually,
well as all this other stuff you do.
Of course. Well, that's part of what our skywriting, which we didn't even talk about yet,
Oh, we haven't
is
got
all
over
about
skywriting.
restoration
Yeah,
of
so if you went to
marriages.
Jazz Fest, was it last year you did that? Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to be lighting up the skies of New Orleans in a couple of weeks.
So you see all the skywriting above Jazz Fest, it had love and peace, and that was all Frank did all that.
Really?
Well,
Okay. Yeah.
So I will. Yes, I'm responsible for it, but I certainly didn't do it for personal fame or attention. Quite frankly, I launched the program and left town. I went to Los Angeles, where I'm at peace.
Yeah.
I went there to work, and I will tell you this, and I appreciate what you're saying about wealth and entrepreneurism and resources. But the reality is, just yesterday, or actually 2 days ago, I had lunch with some very powerful people on Wall Street. We spent more time talking about how to change the world and love people, make people happy than we did making money. Because making people personally happy is actually worth more than all the money in the world. And there's a young lady that I've had some dates with, been fortunate in the French Quarter, who produces art. And she inspires me. Because
Is this
it's
the on and off relationship with the wedding ring here? Yes.
probably so.
Probably so. So, okay. So how is that going? Do we know her name, or I
No,
mean, we're not
no,
allowed
she's
to say it?
no, it's not at this time.
Oh.
It's private.
Okay. Does she know what's going on? Does she know that you've
I
got
would
a wedding
think so.
ring and engagement ring?
She probably does.
And when are you thinking of proposing?
You
to her?
know,
'Cause this could be
actually,
a good moment
I
right
actually was talking to Jess's friend a little while ago that I do things backwards. I actually want to do the honeymoon before the marriage because I think we should go through a trial period.
now. You've already been on a honeymoon with this person.
Well, we've to travel, but I actually want to take off for a month and go on a safari.
Well, it doesn't sound like that would be very difficult to achieve.
I've been
in your
working
case.
so hard that
Sounds like
I
dreadful.
need I
Yes.
need to
Horrible
take a
work.
break.
Yes.
I really do.
Take a break from traveling to New York, Dubai, Qatar.
Those are all work
That's all
related
work.
trips. That's all work.
What are you working on all those
I'm working
places?
on the Six Flags project in New Orleans East. We're opening up
We
40
need
water
another
parks
hour.
by June 1st.
Nice.
We're opening up we're opening up a New Orleans fashion studio that we're going to sew clothes. Actually, it's a sweat line of clothes made in eastern New Orleans. I recently purchased a 5-acre compound with 40,000 square foot. We're going to be I'm going to Anaheim to have lunch at Disney, and then we're going to the Disney sewing machine providers, and we're buying all the cutting tables and sewing machines so we're going to start fabricating clothes, New Orleans fashions in eastern New Orleans. How cool is that?
Okay, so do you have like some sort of like a, I don't know what, like manic depressive type disorder?
Do I?
Yeah. Are you like a manic person? There's all these
Well,
things. How can
no.
someone do? Are you like just a? Like
I have
a
an
mogul?
amazing staff. I have
How many people are we talking about?
8 assistants.
So you have
And-
8 people working
yes.
for you, and none of them. There's not really a. Is there a business? Is there Frank Scurlock Industries or something?
It's actually called Scurlock Entertainment Global.
Right, but these aren't entertainment. Some of these things. This is, I mean, a
well, that's
fashion
the
industry
parent
that-
company.
Okay, so what's the fashion company called?
We haven't named that yet, but the concept is to produce local. Like, I don't know if you're familiar. There's a local brand called TAC Performance. That's like bamboo.
Task. It's called.
It's something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I actually
it's the
purchased,
bamboo stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't like about that product line is it's not made here. It should be made here. It's designed here.
Right. Well,
Just
nobody
like-
makes anything here. They all make
What?
it in China.
No,
'cause it's
we
cheaper.
have to. The one thing that our Wall Street people are about at the New York Stock Exchange, there is a gigantic American flag there. Having gone to China, and I'll tell you this, and China saved our inflatable company because we didn't have any production when Katrina hit, and we had a chain of 200 stores that we had to support with product. It was fun for a while. But I'm done with China. So we basically are shutting down our shops over there. We're relocating all that to 16362 Shepman Tour Highway. Opens June 1st this year, this lifetime.
Okay, June 1st this year. That's not far away. So you're making clothes, is what you're saying.
Well, that's a byproduct, but we're going to be making inflatables. But when we were interviewing people
There's
to work,
bouncy houses.
when we were interviewing people to work for
I
us,
thought you weren't in the bouncy house business anymore. I thought your family was doing that and you were out
So
of it.
I'm modernizing it. They basically have old technology. We're making water slides that have gushers of water, the equivalent of fire hydrants that's coming out of it. With all, my son Miles actually runs our nationwide rental company, and he's actually encouraging me. I'm a creative person. That's what I do. And I appreciate what you said about the manic depressive, but do you have highs and lows? Everyone does. The same difference with night and day.
I don't mean even. I can't think of the word. I'm not a psychologist.
Right.
I don't know the word.
You
but it's
have
someone who
energy channeling.
Just these multiple things. Like
It's kind of like an orgasm. And if you've had multiple orgasms, let's be realistic.
if you've had multiple orgasms.
Most people are just satisfied with one. But if you can channel it to
Can you have multiple orgasms, Frank? Is that what you're saying?
it's been done before.
No, by you, really, as a guy. Now we're onto a whole different subject.
You know what somebody told me the other day? Not that I don't use Viagra, but they told me that Viagra's out of patent, so apparently the price is coming down.
Well, that's good to know.
And they also told me...
Everyone will be happy about that, men and women.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm sure that would have been in the news if that was true.
So the
Who
people
told
on Wall
you that?
Street,
One of the sheikhs?
The Wall Street people showed me this new type of thing where they have this nose pinch, because the new technology in medicine and drugs is the way the delivery methods. So they have like this clip that goes on your nose, and it's fast injection.
Dude, Shane's got it in.
Oh, is that medicine?
No.
But it could be. Think about this.
Decorational.
Right, but think about
So you can stick that
there
through
is
your nose and you get a
They
hard on.
exposed to me a new product that's coming out next year. They're having an IPO on, and they're basically going to have it for any ailment, because it's about delivering to your human body
Delivering by what method?
through inhaling.
Inhaling. That would be better than taking a pill, I suppose, but it doesn't seem like the biggest problem. Someone else is calling you. What phone
the guy
is
with
that
the
one?
guy with the
Holy shit,
blimps.
Frank. The blimps.
The blimps, yeah. The blimp.
I love
the blimp guy.
everything.
I met him because of the Wall Street people, and it goes back. Let me say this, because I know we're getting ready to close to run out
we
of
got
time.
to get out of here. But
is that by taking your eye off the
hard to
8 ball?
stop
Some
this.
people get so hyper focused on what they think they're supposed to be doing. I actually think it's the art of distraction. If you can actually channel your mind to, I do most of my creative time in the bathroom, in the bathtub, because that's, you ever hear talk about singing in the shower? You're at peace, and energy flows.
Okay, that's good. That's
I like
good
that
to know.
tidbit, yeah.
Okay, we've got a lot to cover still, Frank. You have to come back. We only just touched on multiple orgasms for men. Viagra's out of patent. I don't even know what. We're going around the world in a hot air balloon.
Yep.
Mayor of New Orleans.
Yep.
The $3 million man.
Occasionally.
How to make $1 million by giving away $100,000.
Yep.
And we haven't even got past chapter 1 of Heal Your Spirit, which is in
I want to read that book on my flight today.
What's that?
Yeah.
Can you sign a copy of the book for me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
So this is a great. How is the book doing, Jess? You just published. I know we haven't got.
Yeah, it's on Amazon right now. You can find it on Amazon. I'm going to be having a book signing party at Austin's coming up, so stay tuned. You can find me on Facebook.
You can find you on Facebook, and your name is Jess Tregle, Dr. Jess, JESSTREGLE.
You got it. Yep.
MSCD. So you're a doctor of
Metaphysical science.
metaphysical science.
Yeah.
It's almost like magic, isn't it?
You can call it that if you
Man,
want.
well, thank you very much, everybody, for being here. This hour has gone by way too fast.
Yeah.
And Shane Avrard from
I wanna hear
the
another
Noise
song.
Complaints.
Close us out with a song.
Is that possible? Is that the plan?
Sure, it's possible. Yeah, you got like
When's
a
your next
short
gig?
song.
I got a relatively short song.
Okay, it's a relatively short song. What's it called, Shane?
It is called "Hope You're Healing Better."
Nice.
Love
Hey,
it.
perfect.
Maybe you can add a CD to there and get a book.
Combo.
That, and I can make everybody fun again.
Throw it off the blimp.
There you go.
All right.
Wish I'd met you 10 years down the road, when I know what I want and where the fuck I'm going. Try to take the blame for what's my own. You're not the one at fault, but you're not sleeping alone. Someday we could have another go round, would you think about it? I'm not trying to hold you down or drag this out, let me be brief about it. Now is not the time. I'll cut you off this line. time to time.
Yes, okay. Shane Avrard from the Noise Complaints. That is a perfect song to go out on.
Thank you.
What's it called again?
It is called Hope You're Healing Better.
Hope You're Healing Better. It's a song about I wish I'd met you 10 years from now when I knew what the fuck I was doing.
Yeah, maybe things go a little bit
Yeah.
better.
Well, we'll see what happens 10 years from now. Let's all meet back here and see where we are. Frank
Sounds
will be
good.
the ex-mayor of New Orleans by that time.
419, yes.
Jess will be some sort of super person with your own TV show, like Dr. Oz.
There you go.
And New Orleans will be fun again.
And
Yes.
I'll be dead, and I can come back from the dead. You can bring me back, Jess.
I told you I saw
Yeah,
your
well,
twins.
well, yeah.
Channel you. We'll channel you.
You can channel
There
me.
you go.
Frank
Think about
Scurlock,
it.
thanks for being here. Shane Avrard.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
Dr. Jess Tregle. That's our show for today. That's Happy Hour, brought to us by Basics Swim and Gym. We can get a full range of fashion swimsuits, workout and yoga clothes with style, including bikinis, one-piece cover-ups and more. And they're right next to Basics underneath the lingerie store on Magazine Street. And thank you to Hangover Destroyer, the only all-natural product medically proven to prevent a hangover. Go to hdestroyer.com, write Happy Hour in the coupon code, and you too can get 30% off your first order of Hangover Destroyer and seize the dawn. Graham DePonte is our producer. Christian Unruh is our music director. Jean Valois is our music producer. Thomas Walsh is our technical director. And our live feed directors who made this possible on Facebook are Asher Griffith and Grayson Jernigan. If you'd like to be on our show and you can stay upright for about an hour while drinking, drop us a line. Our address is on our website, itsneworleans.com. Our theme music was written by and is currently being played by Mitch Foreman. You can check out tons of other shows too on itsneworleans.com, including many other hours of Happy Hour to listen to, as well as Out to Lunch with Peter Raschuti, live from Commander's Palace, True to the Game with the very funny Chris True, Midnight Menu with Margot Moss and the Man Who Ate New Orleans, Ray Canada, Louisiana Eats with Poppy Tooker, and other podcasts as well. You can catch other Louisiana podcasts on itsacadiana.com and itsbatonrouge.la. You can keep up with us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and a bunch of other time-sucking social media as well. On all of it, we're called It's New Orleans. You can also find photos from this show on itsneworleans.com, and on our Facebook page, those photos are taken by Alison Moon. If you're listening to this on your favorite podcast app, thank you so much for subscribing to us. Take a moment, if you can, to rate and review us. That helps other people find us. Our show is recorded live today at Wayfare on Ferret Street in Uptown New Orleans. Happy Hour is a production of INO Broadcasting. For itsneworleans.com, Andrew Duhon is making a record. He'll be back here in a couple of weeks. In the meantime, find out more about him at andrewduhon.com. For Andrew, everyone around here at the table at Wayfare and back at our office at INO Broadcasting, thank you for joining us. I'm Grant Morris. I'll see you back here next week for more Happy Hour.
Johnny got a toy golf set when he was 3, and from that day on, he was hooked. All he wanted to do was golf, golf, golf. He'd be on the links before school, after school. All he ever wanted was to go pro. And then, one day, when he was holding his grandson and thinking about his 12 handicap, Johnny realized it just might not happen for him. But you know what did happen for him? He switched to Geico and saved a bunch of money on car insurance. So that was good, and so was hanging out with his grandson.